Hey, hello all. Welcome to the another session of AI Tech Podcast. Today we are very honored to have Commander Shashank Dubey, retired, joining us at the AI Tech Post. Welcome, Shashank. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Sudeep. Likewise, it's indeed a pleasure to be in a conversation with you today.
Thank you for joining. And let me share a bit about Shashank with all of you. Shashank has over 26 years of experience as a naval veteran and corporate leader in managing complex, multidisciplinary, customer centric technology solutions. Currently, he is Vice President Technology at C2C Advanced Systems. He is a thought leader in the space of artificial intelligence and has helped his company pioneer into AI domain to build niche AI products and services to make an impact at scale. In fact, his vision is to transform the existing AI Center of Excellence into global capability centers. He is an alumnus of IIT Delhi and IIM Lucknow and also PMP certified. So, Shashank, once again, welcome. And would you like to share a little bit more about yourself and about C2C and what do you do and what are some of the initiatives that you are running today and planning to drive in the coming years?
Oh, wonderful. Definitely it's a pleasure to, share insights, my journey. And it started actually in 2017, when I got really associated with AI as a word. And you'll be surprised to know that at that time I only knew AI as artificial intelligence, nothing more than that. One has been very fortunate to work on the very niche technologies as a user, as an end user, and as a real evaluator in Navy. But the idea was always to get more into the towards from the technology perspective to get into the systems, and therefore the motivation was to why not get into AI because that time transformers had just come, AI was shaping up, and machine learning was taking over and the winter kind of AI which it had seen was setting off and things were looking up. So that's where I got in really touch with a couple of my mentors and professors at IIT Madras. I had an opportunity to, be with them at IIT Madras, took some courses with them, sat in the classes, understood their perspective, and I really realized that this is going to be there. It's a serious business. It's going to, change and transform the scale and line of business and technology both. And that is what intrigued me to get into it. Another aspect which really, kind of fascinated me was the maths behind it. I had done quite a bit of mathematics during my MTech days at IIT Delhi. So I really thought that, a lot of mathematical applications which one did in terms of, linear algebra or matrices determinants, probability, optimization techniques, all that one could apply into this particular technology and take it through. So that is where I actually, opened my eyes into this domain. And thereafter, I've been really very fortunate to have some real good mentors, both from academia as well as from corporate setup who have taken me through this path. And here I am in front of you today, delivering my views in this podcast. And it's really, really, I'm very humbled to be with you and honored that, Sudeep, you considered it worth your time to kind of talk to me on this issue and aspect. Having spoken that, I was always keen to do something right from scratch, grounds on in this particular domain. And that's where I think C2C Advanced Systems came in. A very, very wonderful company, which actually gave me the opportunity to start with the AI vertical hands-on, where I have taken the responsibility of building this vertical right from, you say, ground. So before that, let me just tell you quickly about what we are into. So we are into Magi C4I systems. We all know what are C4I systems. So you have sensors, you have seekers, you have all the data coming in from there. You have a platform, you have analytical capability of that particular platform, and then you give some output on the basis of the intelligence which you derive thereafter. So this has been our Magi C4I systems is the core understanding is our core product where we have this particular platform, to say to so to say, which kind of gives us this confidence that it can be integrated, and then it can analyze data from the various sensors and seekers and systems in real time and give a very meaningful output. So apart from this, we are also into subsystems, components, and essentially we started in defense sector as a primarily a defense company. But the company has been really very the founders and the senior management has been very very mindful of the fact that the company needs to also foray into the aspects of uh, industry, especially from the digital transformation perspective. And that's where, now you can correlate the dots and you can see that how AI is going to become an important pillar in the company's growth and success. So that's what we are into right now. And that's where, we have started our journey in AI, where we are really very, very keen to transform and take this journey very much ahead and make kind of and give rather C2C advanced systems a first mover advantage in the domain of machine learning and AI. So
Wonderful.
that's
Thank
where
you.
our journey is right now, Sudeep.
Thank you, Shashank. Very, very interesting and sounds very interesting. In fact, I think defense system itself sounds so complex, and bringing AI to the world of defense system is very intriguing. So, in fact, we would love to understand, and know more about your journey, starting from a naval veteran to a strong global AI leader that you are today, and who is leading digital transformation today. I think, can you help us take us through the journey of, being a naval veteran to a global AI leader?
Oh yes, Sudeep, as I mentioned, see, this has not been a kind of easy task, but what one has been very, very mindful is that, see, always, the business has to complement technology and the technology has to complement business. So, this concept was understood by me very, very early in my initial formative years. What I realized and what most of guys as tech or technocrats, what we do is we really feel very delighted if we discover something and we achieve something, or we have kind of got an advancement or a breakthrough. But what we also do not realize is that what actually we have developed or what we have built, is it worth taking to market, or can it actually go to the market or not? So in that sense, one has been very, very impactful and mindful of how business and technology can complement each other in this case, and how both of them can synergistically work together. We have also been very mindful at C2C to see that our vision and mission statement aligns with our go-to-market strategy when we think of all our AI endeavors. We also value people, people who are behind this complete transformation. So therefore, we have a very, very strong, well-defined roadmap for people and the processes which these people create and the technology ultimately which gets developed. And another thing which we have been very, very mindful is that we have been kind of building our portfolios depending upon what is the business requirement, whether it's like a build requirement or whether it can be met through a build internal building, or it can be, whether it is readily available in the market. So we have been having those insights. We are very diligent in seeing how we invest our effort on our developmental technological development R&D efforts, how whether it is required to build, or if it is ready available, can we buy it, can we collaborate and go ahead. So these are the kind of domains, and this is the kind of on a to be more specific, which we have been really focusing on, and we are very confident that with this particular approach, and as I said, we are one of the early movers in defense domain with AI flavor on top of our Magi C4I systems. This is going to be a game changer as we see. And my experience, as I mentioned, from my transition from the naval domain to the corporate world, my learnings which I have kind of received and the mentorship which has been given to me is really helping all of us at C2C to really take this up and shape it up well.
Wonderful. And that's very inspiring, Shashank. Thank you for sharing. And I think you touched upon a very wonderful point saying mentorship. I think it's really important, irrespective of where you are coming from as leader, irrespective of journey that you have led. Mentors have played a very, very important role in every part of life.
Very
And
much,
yeah.
very
Cool.
much, very
So
much.
I think AI is the buzzword today, and with so much of technical advancements happening, what do you think our future would look like, and what kind of impact will it have on us? More important, how do we ensure that we are practicing AI ethically?
So this is actually one of the very well asked point, but hardest to answer with the situation that you sleep a night before and you read about technology, and when you're opening your eyes next day morning and you have some real buzzword coming in and you realize, oh my God, what I read last night is outdated. So I think we are living in an era where we will have to really think of how, if we have to survive in this domain especially, and we have to take it as a technology, then what I realize is that, and my take is that we have to be really, really ahead of our present scenario. Which means what I essentially say is we have to be looking into future. We will have to be seeing as to how future is going to be. And towards that, the first thing which comes into my mind is, today all of us are talking about agentic AI. So I think this year, 2025, is going to be about agentic AI. All the big names, the big ones, even the ones which are competing, the startup ecosystem. There's a lot of focus which is going on agentic AI framework. Who knows? Today I'm giving you an interview, Sudeep, but maybe if this interview could have been given tomorrow, maybe my avatar would have kind of spoken to you. So I think that's the first step and the first milestone which AI as technology and AI as a business transformation aspect is going to achieve. I think the second aspect, which I would say is after that, what is going to happen is on artificial general intelligence, or somebody calls it as general AI. So it's all synonym. But that's where when you start thinking intuitively, you start getting things. You start bringing in your reasoning. We are talking a lot about reinforcement learning, so all that gets encompassed, and we come to a situation. So we are working towards AGI, which is going to be the next part of the developmental effort. And then it's going to be something called as like people are talking. If you listen to the latest podcast of Sam Altman, he is talking nowadays of artificial superintelligence, which is almost roughly, some few days, a few years away. And this is where what he's saying is, the reasoning and the logic and the analysis and the thought and the reinforcement learning part of it of a machine is going to go and exceed or surpass the human intelligence. So it's like, for example, right now, if I'm thinking, so it's kind of, you say clone, you know, 10 Shashanks, and, each of them working at, say, 10x. And if 10 of Shashanks are there, so they all are working at 100x. And just imagine an intelligence which is produced with one brain versus 100x brains, and what would be the phenomenal difference it's going to make. So that's where artificial superintelligence is going to be pegged. The landscape which the industry experts give it is 9 years, but they say that that's coming. And I also have a firm reason to believe that, it's going to come. You see, when deepfake came, everybody initially was in denial, but then they realized that it's happening. So it's just going to happen. The last thing which really, kind of concerns me, or it's a matter of thing, is that though we are, as a technology developing and businesses are willing to adapt and change and transform, and we have been using real some good words, but what is very important is the ethical considerations. And this is really an important aspect where we also have spoken about, or there's a concept of singularity which comes in where typically a machine kind of surpasses the human intelligence and rejects or manipulates the human intervention in the loop. There is going to be a big challenge when we reach that point of singularity in this AI space. It's like really like it's like a machine trying to do something, but trying to surpass human directives. So how that is going to be a ecosystem, how that's going to affect our civilization is going to be a very big concern, both from technology as well as from ethical considerations. The other aspects which really one will have to think about are the data privacy concerns. There are a lot of guidelines, USAI Bill of Rights. You would know right now the current US president has first time appointed an AI advisor to him. Then there are EU guidelines, OECD guidelines. So there are a lot of things which are happening on the space of how to make AI responsible and ethical when one is either developing or when one is either using it or implementing it, as I say. So broadly, these are the kind of spaces where one is going to, go to and see in next 3 to 4 years. And it will be interesting to see how the landscape and how the effect of that landscape on civilization, changes with time.
Wow, thank you so much, and very insightful actually. But it also, kind of one place it is really exciting to hear things happening around the space of artificial super intelligence, like you say, Sam Altman is also talking about. And the other way is where we are worried, what if the machines take over and doesn't listen to us? So I think it's a kind of, there is a good advantages as well as maybe things a little bit to worried about. But I think it gives a good blend to keep a framework, very strong framework, ethical framework in line to keep a check on that. So very insightful. Thank you for sharing. Um, and and
Yeah.
and in this conversation, we are realizing that you are very customer centric and result driven leader. So would you like to share a little bit of insights on how someone who is starting this journey new today, because everyone is talking about AI and but when I personally would want to go and start, I am overwhelmed with so much of information. So how do I start a journey? How is someone starting new in this journey, and how do they advance their skill set? How do we help them grow in this AI talent pool?
I think it's a very valid point for a person who wants to venture, and it just reminds me of my days of 2015, 16, 17, when I was also thinking. I had vaguely started reading, and frankly speaking, Sudeep, I never had initially that kind of guidance which right now you have asked me for. So first, I will go towards your aspect of being customer centricity. So I explained to in beginning itself, as both in my personal belief system as well as company as C2C. We believe that we need to keep the customer in center and then design and do things, strategize our products, strategize our solutions, strategize our go to market strategy, keeping everything, because see, at the end of the day, what we are working is for our customers. So if they do not, if we do not know what are the features which are going to be of important to them, what do they need, what do they not need, then it's of no use, then it's all on words and on paper. So having said that, one has to be really mindful that if you really want to drive a customer need and wants to kind of implement AI on scale, I would say, because doing bits and pieces of work at till POC level is okay. But when you start thinking of, scaling up your AI efforts, you want to really take it up. then it's really important to kind of be focused from day one if you want to get into an AI landscape. So, to come back to this aspect, what I would first say is to anybody who wants to foray into the domain of AI is first you need to define a start line for yourself, which means you see if you want to run a marathon sitting at home, despite how much ever you think that you want to run a marathon, you can never do it till you do not, actually register for it and come on the start line to run it. Only when you come to the start line and when you start running is when you realize about your strengths and weaknesses. So it's the same here. So it's if you want to really get into, so just plunge into it, come define a start line for yourself and stand there. The next aspect of which I feel very importantly, today there are a lot of, I would say jargons which are floating in. There are a lot of avenues which companies are advertising to come and just join and learn and, whatnot. They say that there's a lot of hype right now or a lot of discussions right now which is happening towards having prompt engineers as one of the key job aspirants. But what I would say is, I always see the problem from first principles, and I've learned this from actually Elon Musk, where when he is given a problem to solve, he breaks it into the smallest part of the problem. So here, if you really want to get into an AI, both from tech as well as business perspective, I would say that you need to have your fundamentals very strong. And when I say fundamental means, as I said, there's a lot of maths involved. It may need some brushing up of your basic understanding on mathematics, especially in domain of linear algebra, matrices, determinants, probability, optimization techniques, calculus. So one should be very confident about it because there'll be a lot of, all the intuitions which the results which are thrown on you are very intuitive, but are all derived basis of mathematical reasoning. The next aspect which I will talk about, which is important equally, is coding skills. I know there is a psychological fear when when you talk to many about coding, but it's really doable. You can start in small bits and you can start coding. Once you start coding, you'll realize that you just keep building on your skills. The third thing I would say is that there are a lot of frameworks now which have come today in market, which are really willing to assist you, be it a developmental environment, be it like, your code reviews, what you do, your optimization, which you do, the way you are wanting to kind of test your code, the way you want to validate your model, the way you were doing your data pre-processing part of it, because data is the heart of any AI ecosystem. So all for everything today we have a framework, we have like tools, I would say, which will enable you and which will help you to do your things faster. The the next thing which I have also realized, coming from tech background, is that having a business insight is very important for you to understand and take it forward. Without understanding what the business wants, until you do not interact with business and you do not have a common intersection point and you don't come out with commonality, it is very hard to understand what is going to sell in the market and what would be the right go-to-market strategy, who will be your right customer fit, what is the right product market fit. So for as a tech, you also need to understand these, concepts. And the next aspect, which I personally very firmly believe, is on intellectual honesty. So one has to be honest with yourself and just think what are your strengths, weaknesses, and accordingly work on it. I have also seen that top-down approach works and not bottoms-up approach. So, like if, for example, you are a new enthusiast and you want to work, so don't start learning AI from ABC. Rather, I would say that you understand, like as I mentioned, that what Elon Musk does. You have been given a problem statement, so identify a use case, identify a problem statement, break it down into smaller pieces, get to the lowest piece in the hierarchy or in that breakdown, and see, okay, for this particular piece, for me to solve, what is the right technology or right framework or right tool which I need to know. what is for me to know on this particular thing? How do I crack this? And you start from there rather than, kind of starting, from beginning, and, first you want to learn A and B and C, and then you go till Z, and then you define that, oh, now I know the alphabets, now I should move on to words, then I should move on to sentences. No, that approach should not be undertaken. So that's what I say is bottoms up approach. The top down approach is take the use case, break it down to the lowest form, or see what is required there, and start working. Importance of mentors, I have already spoken about it quite a lot. Makes a lot of difference if you have right set of people. Either they could be people from academia, or they could be from industry. They could be veterans who are working in industry for long. But you need to have mentors when you are kind of trying to open the eye. One more aspect which I would like to quickly tell you is on attitude, which I personally feel is the most important aspect. Actually, that increases your luck surface area, is what I say. So, a lot of times, when we try to do something new, we will have failures, we'll have non acceptances. So, people attribute it to multiple other things. I say instead of attributing it to multiple things, keep your attitude right, be resilient, and come back. And my last point on this particular aspect would be to share with you that there are, see, two types of skill requirements which are today emerging in AI domain. One, who are actually working to create AI, which means what OpenAI, what other big tech guys are doing, which is actually the majority of work in the Western world. And the second part is the skills which are required to implement that already created AI technology, which is what is happening more in our country. So we also need to be very mindful, or depending upon again our strength, and where do we kind of fit in both these paradigms, and be very clear of what you want to do. So I think these few things which I mentioned, if you do it right, I mean, sky is the limit. And I'm sure that Sudeep, anybody who wants to kind of open their eye into this domain would be able to achieve it at a quick pace.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is very, very enlightening, by the way. And I like the point you said, I think you don't have to become a developer to really get into the AI domain. There are so many areas of expertise. One definitely as part of a programming skill, but bringing the business perspective and then implementing to increase your efficiency, your productivity. I think that also is a very, very core part. So I think we would probably invite viewers to look from perspective of what strength they bring in and leverage that particular
Yes.
strength. They don't have to get into programming to go into AI. I love that particular point. But thank you so much, Shashank, for your enlightening views. And I think we need more and more leaders like you with the entrepreneurial mindset to take us leaps and bound ahead in this particular exciting journey. And thank you so much for joining us today at the AI Tech Pause. And I'm sure people would really benefit from all the valuable nuggets that you have shared today. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure is all mine, Sudeep. It's always, always, always good to connect with you, Sudeep, and exchange insights and valuables. And really looking forward to making some difference in minds of everyone, age irrespective, be a young guy to an oldie, or I'll say even a senior citizen who wants to plunge into domain of AI. Sky is the limit. Make a North Star, get guided through that North Star, let that North Star be your guiding light, and go. That's all what I would like to say. Just go and achieve.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shashank. And thank you to all our viewers. I think it's been very, very interesting conversation. And we keep coming with new and exciting topics for you all. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks.